button. So the last couple weeks, I've actually jumped the gun, and the audio hasn't started until like after I've already started. So I'm gonna wait just a little longer this time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I always, most of the Twitch feeds that I see, they have like a 15-minute countdown that they animate through, and then they start the show, and that means it says it's broadcasting 15 minutes early. It gives people time to like hit their links or respond to the reaction things, and that's why I have like a countdown.
Always thinking. But at this point, we should be recording. So, hello and welcome to Detention Live from the RPG Academy. I am Michael, and tonight I have with me Scott. Scott, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Howdy, all you kids out there in Radio Land.
There it is. Without that, it just doesn't feel right. It's like a pair of underwear that aren't worn in yet. They're just...
Yeah, they're clean.
Is it right? Well,
weird.
It's clean. Yeah.
You didn't find it on the bottom of the pile. What?
Ooh.
They're like flat. They're not shaped to your body permanently.
Exactly. So right now it doesn't look like, oh, there we go. Now we got a couple people have jumped in. So Craig Campbell's with us, Beef Griller's with us. Hopefully we'll have a few more people jump in here in a minute. So Scott, see, you'd think I'd never done this before. Every single time. I even made a little cheat sheet for myself so that I would remember what to do. But if you're new, this is Detention, which is our weekly talk show here at the RPG Academy. The idea is that we are staying after class in the hallowed halls of the RPG Academy, taking care of some hooligans, ne'er-do-wells, and academaniacs, if you will. Oh, so we got Nicholas joined us as well, and New York Dater, and Game Disc. So yeah, we got a bunch of people jump in. That's awesome. So now with that out of the way, because we don't have a guest tonight, it's just you and I.
But I don't count as a guest.
Well, you're faculty, so you're not a guest. You're special. But you're not a guest, so you're not a special guest.
I'm like short bus special, not...
You're like a... Yeah.
I'm faculty because I stayed at school and didn't graduate for so long. You just came up with another, well, we can't make him staff. Like groundskeeper, that would be offensive. Do that to the biggest, dumbest guy in the group. You don't do that. That's offensive, right?
The Hagrid of the group.
Exactly.
PB Dragon 83 says hello. Yeah, there's an assistant to the reserve janitor would be an official position for you.
Oh, like adjunct janitor?
Exactly.
I like that.
That's fantastic.
Track. Yeah, oh yeah, someday I'll get janitor position full time, and then I'll just be set. I'll be living up that fat janitor career.
Custodial engineer, thank you very much.
As an aside, PB Dragon 83 joined the chat and said hi, and now I really want to change tonight's monster to the peanut butter dragon because that's incredible.
It blows out like crunchy. It's
crunchy? You're a crunchy?
No, I hate crunchy, but that's why the dragon's breath would be crunchy.
Oh, it's like gravel. It's sticky and it's thick and it has chunks. Okay,
and then it can be like tar. Sticks to you, and then you get lit on fire.
It's like tar with caltrops in it. It's terrible. It's just awful.
Targris jumped in as well. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So we'll get into the show. And Scott, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Paulaner Hefeweizen. A heifer.
How many of those have you had?
This is the first.
Okay.
But it's been a very long couple of weeks at work, so it's like a mild buzz going all the time. It's mostly driven by stress and lack of sleep. Mostly stress. I'm sleeping well, but it never feels like enough. How about you?
I'm drinking water. Tonight I'm drinking out of my Civil War commemorative cup.
What you decided that the freezer sugar wasn't going to do you tonight? The LV8 or whatever?
It's an L81.
The letters and numbers.
It's letters and numbers. So good news, bad news. So again, I've been having some medical issues. So as you can tell, my voice is still kind of weird. They have not been able to figure out what's going on yet. So I've had blood work. I've had x-rays. I even had a CAT scan. Still haven't figured out what's wrong with my voice, but some of my numbers came back a little wonky. So I will not be partaking in any sugary drinks for quite a while. Kind of borderline, might be dying soon if I don't get my diet under control.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's if there's one thing I've learned being dietitian adjacent, or dietetics adjacent is that there's a lot of disagreement about diet, nutrition, and health, especially internationally, right? Every country has their own standards that's lobbied by their own groups. But one kind of universal truth that's pretty much true everywhere is that the absolute devil is sugar-sweetened beverages.
Yes.
Or SSBs.
Oh, SSBs?
Yeah. You don't want to be rolling with them SSBs. No. They're SOBs, those SSBs.
So I've been water only for almost a week now. Starting to get the diet under control a little bit as well. I mean, things like a catacon and Thanksgiving, I'm not going to like deny myself that.
It's a wreck.
But I'm going to try just to stay to the water. Like I've done that before. I was like off sodas for almost a full year at one point, just never wanted one. And then I had one and it's like cocaine. Like if you've not had a Coca-Cola in a year, it literally is like cocaine. And I was just like, and just like, the colors got brighter in the room. Like the world became more alive. There was unicorns dancing out of the windows. So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really intense. I can empathize. Every time I start to get fat, I quit a beverage because it's a lot easier than exercising. So I've quit many beverages, some of which have low calorie counts, but I it made me feel better.
Yeah, just go with water, man. Once you get used to it, you're fine.
Mm-hmm. They have sparkling water, and it still feels exciting to your mouth. That's been my the big thing that helped me kick soda.
So beef griller was asking. It's ale. So ALE, the number 8, and then the number 1. So it's ale 8-1, but it does sound like a late one when you kind of say it all together.
Late one.
Supposedly it's got a ton of caffeine in it.
Oh, it's an early one.
Yeah, so it keeps you up basically.
Yeah.
Craig Campbell says thanks for me for being on their show and helping them with their Kickstarter, which funded. They are running their own regional convention called AndoCon, and apparently it funded just a little while ago. So congratulations, guys.
That's awesome. You should be very happy with yourselves.
And yes, water is just pre-beer. I'm never getting to that point. So we'll jump into extracurricular. So we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but what have you been up to the last week or two? What's been going on in Scott's life?
Well, aside from work, which feels like a lot to me, but I know that there are people in our chat who work way more than I do, and so I probably have no room to talk, right? I'm not required to go country to country working in mixed conditions. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that's really been going on with me for the last few weeks is my life partner has been out of the country for going on. This is week 5, and it's getting a little thin on the ground. My tolerance for you learn a lot about yourself when you're forced to be alone with yourself for a really long time. And I think I'm my least favorite roommate. I get really tired of my own crap. Like, God, someone's really got to make me take out the trash. Who's going to do that? You just, it's tough. It's hard not to have somebody to talk at when I have terrible ideas, or to quietly blame for tiny things that don't matter. Now it's just all me. I just talk to myself and blame myself. It's a terrible life.
Yeah.
But that's going to change on Saturday, so I'm real excited. I'm going to clean the house, make it look like I don't live like a slob. It's going to be good.
Nice. So PB Dragon says you need a volleyball. You need a Wilson.
I'd never considered, I feel like anthropomorphizing an imaginary friend is really just an imaginary friend. It's really still just talking to yourself. And I can talk to myself just fine. I learned that in actually a funny story from undergrad, right? I was walking around the engineering building at like 1 a.m. going home like you do. And I turned a corner and, you don't expect to see people. And there was somebody turning the corner at the same time as me. And they gave me the weirdest fucking look. And I was like, what is their problem? And then I got another 50 feet down the hallway and I was like, oh, I was talking to myself really loudly, like at an above normal volume, because the entire building's empty and it's cacophonous, and I'm still working on whatever problem I was leaving the lab about, right? So I was having a loud conversation with myself, and whoever they were shocked and appalled and horrified to see there was exactly one person walking up the hall the other direction. So what I ended up doing was I just got one of those little tethered phone cable things.
Oh yeah.
And nobody was weird about me talking to myself again. Instead of being that crazy person, I was just that jackass, which I'm much more comfortable being.
Yeah, actually, when I was working in retail security catching shoplifters, we always had the walkie-talkies. And very obvious when you're caught talking on one that you're security. And it's kind of hard to play it off. And so then we moved to cell phones, but then some people complain that we're using their minutes, blah, blah, blah. So we got a lot of those, just a little earpiece that hangs down. So it looks like you're a douchebag, but you're actually watching people stealing. So it's actually so much easier because you can hear what they're saying, you can communicate, but it doesn't seem obvious that you're security at that point. So yeah, I use those quite often for quite a while.
It's good.
Yep. So as for myself, again, a catacon, it's broken record. So it's funny, the other day I went through and I organized like everything. I was very proud of myself. I got boxes. I've been saving boxes for a long time. I packed everything. I labeled the boxes and I was like, okay, we're good. And then I got a whole bunch more stuff. I mean, like a lot more stuff. So now I'm like having to start over because I've got things that are mixed together because now I would have full boxes. So I actually have to unpack what I've packed and then repack it with the other stuff and try to reorganize it. So yeah, so it's a little bit of a hectic situation. And we're fine tuning the badges. We've got the design. We really like it, but we're having a little trouble with the technical aspect of trying to figure out if we can mail merge all the names or we have to enter them in manually. And we only have 3 days to figure it out. So that's kind of cool. I'm continuing my Supernatural rewatch. I'm up to season 9 and I also binge Stranger Things 2. It turns out there's 9 episodes. Thought there had been 8. So I was like, well, I can go to bed at 2:30. It's going to suck, but I'll figure it out. Oh, wait, there's an extra episode. So instead it was 3:30 when I went to bed.
Nice.
So that sucked, but I finished it. I need to watch it again because I did binge through it so quickly that I'm sure I missed stuff. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good continuation of the story. The characters changed. They grew a little bit. Some of the relationships shifted. It's kind of, it's what I wanted in a sequel. So I'm happy to see that. And I started listening to Lore, which apparently everyone else on the planet already does. I'm just now getting on that train.
Is it an evil Star Trek fanfic?
No.
Please.
Oh. It's a podcast. It's like a 20 to 30 minute podcast every other week where this guy, I think his name's Aaron Minky or something. He just tells these stories that are like, they're true in the fact that people have actually said them. They're like the history behind certain things and sort of like ghost stories and, this house is haunted and this is all the things that have happened there and blah, 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 blah. But some of the episodes are really good. Some of them have been a little iffy. But I think I'm cruising through. I'm like around episode 25 or so. Been listening to 4 or 5 a day. So
nice.
Basically at work, I'm just going through them. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. People in chat, a couple people have said Stranger Things 2 was really good, Targer says.
I'm so generous. I'm so glad nobody here has given me spoilers because I can't watch it until Sunday morning at the earliest. There is we should wait and watch together. And because you're in a country where it's not, allowed to be distributed. You should really get home. So thanks everybody for not ruining it. All I know is that there's Ghostbusters costumes and that's enough.
And that was in the trailer. Sold. Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's so good.
I was supposed to do that with my wife, but then she wasn't keeping up. So I said, screw it. I'm going on without you. So
it's one of those where you're like doing that marathon together. You've been training. We trained last year. We're gonna do it. We're just doing it. And then about a mile from finish, you're thinking I could make my time if I hurry. But all right, bye, honey. See you at the end.
Yeah, pretty much is no man left behind. But you're a woman, so I'm moving on.
Class. The kind of thing you can only say about your spouse.
When you've been married for as long as I have at this point. I mean, well, it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any worse.
The sort of thing you can only say about your first wife or first husband.
Pretty much. Awesome. All right. So with that, let's jump into everyone's favorite part of the show, 10 things. Dun, dun, dun. Dun.
All right.
Scott. We've done a lot of a catacon lately. So
well, that's because there's so much a catacon to be got.
There is so much a catacon to be gotten. But 10 things you will miss about being by yourself once your significant other gets back home.
Not being effective at getting myself to bed, and so staying up till 2 a.m. without realizing it.
1.
Basically living exclusively in my underpants at home.
2.
Being a slob, I'll probably miss that.
3.
Not feeling obliged to do anything, but then feeling like I can do anything.
4.
Knowing, not having to internalize my inner monologue. I can just let it hang out there.
5.
Let's say the all of the bat ninja training that I've been secretly doing.
6.
The wild house parties that I'm so glad I did not have because I'm old now.
7.
The kind of the waffling of like, I don't really have any friends to invite over, and at first that makes me feel like a bad, lonely person, but eventually it just makes me feel like, oh, I can like put a blanket over myself and read books.
8.
Then of course the heroin.
9.
And the constantly all gaming and work. That's a pretty exciting life.
10. Yay! Those were 10 things.
Right. If we've done a lot of a catacon, then let's say, oops.
Sorry.
I could always watch it myself, then tell my partner, and I'm like, I'm not that good of a liar, beef griller. I wish I were, but I could not watch the series. I like on episode 3, I'd be like, oh, this is a good part. This is a good part. I mean, fuck, I don't know. Terrible. Would have been bad. All right. So, Michael, 10 things that would be an appropriate but shocking encounter for a level 1 party. Appropriate but surprising. Appropriate but unexpected.
Okay, appropriate but unexpected.
Like the right level, right challenge level, but not an expected challenge for level 1 party.
Calzone Golem. As I've recently talked about, I did one of those. A 2-headed goblin, one of which is a wizard, one of which is a barbarian.
2.
The runaway prince, who is actually an artist. So he's the artist that was formerly a prince.
3. I think if you run away, you're still...
A carriage that is out of control, and when you rescue the damsel inside, it's the lady from Back to the Future.
4.
A green slime that tastes like Jell-O.
5.
A black pudding that tastes like chocolate pudding.
6. Nice.
A Yeti who just wants to make a snowman.
Oh, 7. They're going to kill it before they figure that out.
Do you want to make a snowman? A ghostly encounter, but the ghost just wants to talk.
Sad ghost. 9.
Yeah.
No, 8. Sorry.
A cursed magic item that makes you dance, but only till you're tired. And then you stop.
I like that. 9.
Your evil self with the beard, except the beard is the good person.
10. I like that. I like the beard versal.
Yeah, there you go. Because you're like, they must be evil. And they're like, actually, dude, actually that's Cartman. Didn't they do that on South Park? Where the goateed Cartman was actually really nice and everyone really liked them?
I just feel like both the slime and the jelly ideas, I feel like if I were a player, once I found that out, I would capture, breed, and open a store. And that's what the rest of the game would be about.
So we talked about this once before, and I don't know if you were on that episode or not, but we talked about using a black pudding. I said pudding. Black pudding.
I enjoy your occasional southernness.
And then freezing it, and then selling it as gelato. And then when it thaws out, it dissolves your victims from the inside out.
It's a good assassin model. I like that.
But I guess you weren't the one that was on that episode. Somebody was on. We talked about black pudding.
Sounds like a winner.
Nice. All right. So for used books, since Scott and I have been on the show together several times, I think we've kind of just about gone through almost all of our old campaigns, or at least the ones that are interesting.
Well, there's one. There's one campaign that I was in for a couple of years, really like a year and a half, year and change, and it was an incredible campaign. Loved the players, really enjoyed the GM, even if he had some he was always he really lowbarred himself. He really didn't think he was as good as GM as he was. But love the GM. Enjoyed the flow of it, and it sort of petered out. Kind of sad. I don't know if you've heard of this sort of Aqua Dwarf adventure that's kind of been around. We put out a podcast about it. Funny story. It's called Wrought Iron. I don't know. Is that too soon? Can we talk about that on a used book? I mean, a used book can be a new book again. We can write a sequel to a used book, always.
So,
but I feel like with out of game stuff happening, that like with the amount of children that the RPG Academy is having.
Yes, it seems to be contagious. Mm-hmm. It's going around like a virus.
Yep.
We had a chickenpox party and everyone got pregnant.
Mm-hmm. We've proven that it's not in the water, kids, but check your seats.
Yes.
Don't just sit.
There is a point in time where I would like to go back and talk about wrought iron, but I'm still holding on hope that it's not dead yet. So I don't want to just yet.
Well, I mean, obviously it's not dead. We're going to start an offshoot podcast where all we do is run a shop, right? That's good. That has to happen.
But we haven't played that either. Like, that's an idea, but we haven't had that session either.
It's true. What we should do is just do that as a live once a month Twitch thing. Maybe start Patreon only, get some interest.
That was actually the plan, is that one Wednesday a month we were going to play Wrought Iron instead of doing Detention, and then that fell apart as well for various reasons. So
so here's the part of the used book. Why did that part fall apart? Maybe the used book can be that idea. I want to know, Michael, me and our concerned audience, right? I'm sure everybody on Twitch, once the lag gets to them, will chime in and agree that they liked that series if they've heard it, and if they've not, they've been like, oh, maybe I should check it out, and that they wish there was more of it. Why happened? Why so?
Again, real life issues, as you said, you moved across country.
Right, I did do that.
And even though we play over the internet, there was a lot of logistics involved. You didn't have a computer for like a month, and then you were moving apartments. And then you also, like, your commute changed. It went from like really long, so you weren't available. And then Matt decided to have a baby.
Yes.
No, actually, I think it was more his wife, but he kind of agreed. So he's just now had a baby.
Hey, cheers.
So he's got a brand new baby at home, which is affecting his ability to have time.
Yes.
And then Caleb, as we just recently found out, he is expecting, not physically himself, but him a dress.
Mazel tov. Congratulations.
So they are looking at having a little, I think it's a Caleb-ette they're looking at having, double X chromosome in early next year. Plus he has that new job, which apparently he works a lot of hours.
Yes.
So it's just been one of those things where the stars are not aligned, where like, I can do it, but you can't. You can do it, but Matt can't. Matt can do it, but Caleb can't.
So maybe is the used book lesson for this that we need to open up a Patreon game where they can jump in and play customers and swash their buckles and then stream that live on Twitch with the patrons who want to and can schedule it or something?
I'm not opposed to that, but that's another logistical nightmare.
That's 30 times the logistics.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so who's
you're gonna have 12 people one week
it?
And 0 people the next.
Yeah. So
so it's all just my inner fan fiction, the fan fiction that I talk to myself loudly about whenever I'm alone back here.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a really fun game. I really like it as well. I like where it's going. Army is one of my favorite characters I've ever played. I love her. I want to see her arc completed because I like where it's going.
Yeah, I want to see her arc get completed to a point where she's not a terribly built character.
That's never going to happen. No, that's like intentional.
Maybe like by the time we get back around to it, 6th edition D&D rules will come out, and it turns out in that edition, the build of the character is really efficient.
But see, I think that speaks to, like, I'm somewhat intentionally building her poorly. Like it was like sort of like the thing is like, I'm gonna play her this way, but I'm gonna make her this, and then I'm gonna multi-class because I multi-classed into cleric really early, but didn't take any of the features. It was just so that I could justify those magical happenings that were happening around me. So I got with Caleb, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll do that." So I took a level in cleric. and then just every now and then my hammer does something crazy. So now I think we're at like 7th level. I'm like a 4-3, and only now I'm actually starting to be able to heal people and like on purpose do things. Like till now, it's always just been randomly popped in. Now it's like, oh wait, I can do this on purpose. So yeah,
it's been a good time playing with your monk that was built as a fighter cleric for some reason.
Yeah.
Who often almost never has armor, because why would you have armor at sea?
Exactly.
Medieval times, you don't leave town without your armor. It's all magically buoyant. You don't care. And if that doesn't work out, then you not only don't have armor but weapons either. You just like punching people. It's been a good time.
Yep, has been very good time.
I miss the gun. I miss it.
So
it's all right.
So we'll continue this used book segment, which is basically just turned into a whatever. So what games are you playing at a Catacon this year?
I'm doing a re-up of my G.I. Joe shoe game from last year that I think went off with reasonable success. People seem to have a lot of fun. I mean, Wushu's a great system, and G.I. Joe's so camp and so 1980s and so reasonably accessible for most people, even if you haven't seen it. I feel like, because I watched a lot of it, and so I think the things that I know are accessible.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about you, Scott.
Yeah. I'm living alone, so yeah, it's very self-absorbed. But so I'm running that. That should be pretty fun. I have this theory as to one person who might be in that game. Is that you who's in that game? Are you in that game?
Me?
Yeah.
No? I'm not playing anything. I'm running a couple of games. I've not signed up to be in anything.
Oh, because I saw that you had the same time blocked out of your work schedule, and I was like, oh.
No, I probably am running something at the same time. I'm running.
Good for you.
2 5e games, I think, and then my Scooby-Doo Dread.
Scooby-Doo Dread.
It's kind of become like a con tradition.
Staple.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I'd need to get around to writing it. I actually tried. I have a draft saved on the website where I tried to write it out in a way that would make sense. And it was going to be like a 50-page document. It's a game that runs like 2 hours, but I was trying to explain, like, as the DM, how you run it. And it's like, I could tell you in 15 minutes. But trying to write it out with all the if-then statements, I got very complex. So I just don't know. I just don't know how to write a module. I've never written one for public consumption. I use note cards and bullet points. So but
it's going to require some drafts
at some point in time. But it's a great game. I really, really enjoy running it. At some point, I'm going to have to come up with another one, just because I'm going to want to move on. But it seems to be requested a lot. So that's the only reason I'm doing it. I wasn't going to, and someone said specifically, please do, so I can play in it.
You gotta do the game. So cool. Well, I have it on good authority that all 3 of the Nerdburger game RPGs are being demoed. So
yes.
I'm kind of hoping to be free enough for demos. That's going to be exciting. And the only other game I'm planning on doing is I signed up for 2 sections of 2 different editions of Paranoia, because although I've long been a fan of the system for a really long time, I've listened to podcasts and whatever. I've never actually played a game of it. So I'm looking forward to doing 2 of those in preparation for hopefully at some point running Lasers and Treason, the Lasers and Feelings adaptation to Paranoia. It's like a 1-page, and it's
gotcha.
It's good. It's good.
Nice.
It's not a 1-page. It's like 8 pages, but it's good.
All right. So looking back at chat, Targris, I have been playing No Thank You Evil with my boys now for a little while. 7 and 8, I think, maybe 6 and 7. I don't remember their ages, somewhere in there. But they really seem to enjoy it. They actually ask to play sometimes when I don't want to, because I want to make sure it's fun, so I want to be prepared, and sometimes out of the blue they'll ask me to play. So that's a great game to introduce people with. Currently the Scooby-Doo Dread is full, Craig, but I might be talked into running it again off books, perhaps, if there's some interest. I know several people have really wanted to get into it. So that's something that could be talked about.
Off books. It's like an off menu thing
exactly.
at the restaurants, an off book game. After hours, the Academy.
So Beef Griller, there are a lot of things that are full, but there's not everything. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened with your spam folder, but if you go to opweekends.com, you can see all the events. You can see what has seats available. And I grabbed a ticket for a game I really wanted to play in, but it's at the same time as an event I'm running. And I was secretly hoping no one would sign up for my event and I was going to cancel it. No, we have a bunch of people signed up. So I have a ticket to a really cool game. I might be able to hook you up with if you want to do that. So hit me up on Twitter or email, and I can at least get you into one top tier game, even if everything else is full.
Come on.
Yep. All righty. So what are you? Anything else about a Catacon? Any like after hours party, food, anything in particular you're looking forward to?
I mean, all of it. It's the whole experience. I'm really looking forward to the VIP thing that I'm totally going to crash on Thursday night, even though I'm not very or important and I barely qualify as a person.
Faculty, so you're invited.
That's sweetie to say that the adjunct janitor is still can.
So I didn't call you special and I didn't call you important, but you're still invited because you're faculty. So
yeah, all right. Slave, and so that's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to. I think there was talk with folks from last year to do like a dinner thing on Saturday, and that should be fun, or Friday night, and then there maybe organize like a group brunch thing on Sunday morning. That could be a lot of fun. It's got to be early so I can come back and man the desk. I mean everything. It's a good con. I have a lot of fun.
A lot of people have told me they enjoy it. I have to say this year seems to have been even more work than last year. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it's been frankly overwhelming. And as much as I'm excited about it, kind of looking forward to it being over with too. Kind of looking forward to be able to be like, okay, let's just calm down here. Because again, people keep sending me stuff, and I'm not upset about that. But it's like we just keep getting stuff. People will email me. Just today, I had a vendor jump on. So like I've already mapped out the vendors. I know where everybody's at. And then I've got everything. Like I printed out a copy to put in the program. And now I got to change it because someone, we had a vendor jump in. And then I've sent the raffle prize list to Caleb no less than 5 times. And I keep saying, this is it, unless someone sends me new stuff. And by George, every time I say that, I get more stuff. Just yesterday, I got more stuff. So I changed it and I sent him, I was like, here you go. It's like, I'm not going to promise because it'll probably change. Today on the way home, 5 o'clock, I got an email. I got 12 more things.
What?
Yes. It is insane how much stuff. We literally, at this point, we have about 35 prizes per drawing, and there's 4 drawings. So there's like 300 players, and there's like 140 prizes. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Madness.
Yeah. So it's exciting. We got a lot of play to win games this year. Got a bunch of stuff. A couple of the people that sent us stuff didn't want their games to be prizes for whatever reason. So they just donated it to our game library, which is basically my games. Cause I just take my games and make it the game library. So I have like 10 new games.
Holy crap.
That are just going to be out for people to, check out and play, that kind of thing.
Slick.
And then we've kind of hinted, I think you were on the Slack, so you probably already know, but we had talked maybe like a month ago. There was this big secret thing for a Catacon that I was excited about. I didn't want to say anything because it might have fallen through, but we're getting a front page article written on us in a local Dayton paper. But the problem is that article goes live next Tuesday.
Oh yeah, so those are going to be a lot of last minute ticket sales and interest and stuff at the door, because if you're advertising locals, they have no motivation really to buy early.
Yes.
Why not just show?
So that's the thing, is that like, we've got everything pretty much, got our hands wrapped around everything now, and come Tuesday, we could have nobody join in, or we could have like 100 people buy a ticket, which is great. But then that's 100 people I have to make badges for and print badges for and register, and so it's just like
well, and I mean there are a lot of games that are full. That means that everybody who's DMing, like, congratulations, now you're running a second game. Like, pick a time, grab some human beings, go find a table, like get it together, because we're not all going to stand around awkwardly going like, I don't know, there's no games full. All we're doing is just standing around as a bunch of gamers who are more than capable of gaming, but there's not organization, so we're just going to stand here and feel awkward and left out.
Yes. So it's exciting about the article. It's again, best case scenario, we get a bunch of people, but because it's so close, it's also like, so yeah, it's one of those
and not just people, but you get to buy a copy of that newspaper, right? And like frame it and hang it on the wall and be like,
yep, yeah. The guy who actually know the person who wrote it, he's kind of a friend helping me out with the Catacon stuff. He does a lot of gaming type articles for the local area. And I told him, like, I don't live in Dayton, so can you please grab me a handful? Because I'm going to want to frame one. I'm going to want to have one. I think so he said he would do that for me. So
sweet.
Anyway, so we got a few more people that have jumped in. So
we do have one particular comment in chat. Dirty Habanero, longtime friend of the show, chimes in that getting ready for the convention this weekend. But if anybody is driving to a Catacon from Minnesota or Wisconsin and is looking for at least on chat online, completely decent human being to ride with and pay for gas, let Dirty Habanero know. You can always reach out to Michael or me on Twitter, GOWTF, and we can connect the twosies of you. Probably a good time. Not officially Catacon sanctioned. If one of you ends up dead on the side of the ditch of the road, we're very, very sorry.
Yes.
I mean, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. But otherwise, we'd love to see as many people at the con as possible. So yeah, if you guys want to coordinate rides, shoot me an email. Happy to help.
Taylor was supposed to come. He's from Minnesota. But he actually had a work issue, and he's no longer going to be able to make it, unfortunately. So he would have been my go-to, like, oh, yeah, I know he's coming from Minnesota. But, yeah, now he's not coming.
Womp.
All righty.
Oh, man, driving down from PA. PA is a good place. Beef Griller. Flying in from Atlanta, people are. Road trip, man, 8.5 hours of driving. That is a good chunk of time.
Last year, one of the guys came from Sweden, so I think he has the belt for longest travel to a Catacon. Gonna think Sweden's got it.
Yeah, probably, unless you traveled in a really circuitous way.
Or you went backwards, so you actually got here early. Like you traveled negative 8 hours.
You just drove in circles for 8 hours and then.
Well, I mean, again, when you circle the Earth, but you go like one way, like the whole around the world in 80 days thing, you gain time if you go a certain way. So if you go that way, you actually could get here the day before you left.
I like that. Depending on where you start, yes.
Yes.
Fantastic, man. Oh wow, 9-hour drive from Bar Harbor. People are really camping in for this. Thanks everybody.
Yeah,
it's going to be so fun much. On the bun.
And for the people who don't care, who are not coming, this will be the last detention. Well, no, because next time we're going to talk about how it went, but then it'll be the last detention for quite a while. There's not going to be a detention next week. At least I'm not going to host it. I don't know if somebody else might want to.
I'll be out. My partner's back.
Yeah. So no detention next week. So the week after that, after a Catacon, is when we'll get back together.
We'll have hangover detention.
Yes, exactly. All righty. So let's move on. So this is time for everyone's favorite part of the show. Scott, where have your fingers been?
Where have my fingers been? I say, where have my fingers been?
Trying to explain the thing that didn't get fixed before your spouse or your partner got home.
So, yeah, I'm so glad you're home. Really, I'm so glad you're home. I'm desperately 100%. What is it? No, don't let me have this. Okay, fine. I'm really glad you're home. I'm so glad to see you. You mean the world to me. Go on. Yeah, and I'm just, you're radiant. What is it? What is it? There's a but here. Okay, so, remember we were moving in and I broke that fragile wooden thing that was from whatever, Africa. It was from Africa. Right, okay. So, and how I said I'd go find some wood glue and yes, I remember you said that fragile thing that means a lot to me, that you'd finally fix it after 4 months of being here. Well, I was really into sitting around in my underpants. And I broke it more. What? And that's where my fingers have been.
That's where your fingers have been. Fantastic. Alrighty. Where have my fingers been? I said, where have my fingers been?
You were at a catacon, but then you tripped and fell into a portal.
Where are we? You are in the land of Oz. What? Seriously? The land of Oz? Yeah. Seriously. It's just like the books, except not really, because like all the munchkins are on heroin. That's why we think there's flying monkeys, but they're really not flying monkeys. They're just regular monkeys. Wait, you have monkeys? Yeah, they're right over there. Ah! That's where my fingers have been. Yay!
Everyone likes the part of the show.
Everyone's favorite part of the show. Mm-hmm. All right, and we're going to wrap up tonight with our cryptozoology. And this, we're going to take a look at a monster, something probably from D&D, maybe something we've used in the past or something we might use in the future. Scott, you picked the monster for tonight, so what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about the treant, because I love ants. And when they're native to trees, it's so much better, right? Like they have a whole nest of them in there, and they like. It's like those things that carried Frodo and Bilbo through the forest.
Sort of, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Close enough.
Yeah. You've got the monster manual there. Let us know, Mr. Wizard. Fill us all in. Well, what is a treant?
Jump in first. Beef Griller's asking about, will there be any games of Where My Finger's Been at a Catacon? The RPG Academy is hosting a 2-hour improv show.
It's going to be fun on the bus.
I'm guessing that there might be some fingers in places. Wow, that got dirty. So 6 to 8 on Friday, I think, is roll me an improv check. So, yeah.
Check it out. It's going to be a great time.
Yep,
we have a lot of great... we bribed and guilted a lot of the guests into coming. It's going to be a great time. And they're way better at this than us. Oh, look at that. It's a tree with legs.
So page 289 of the 5th edition Monster Manual. Treants are an awakened tree that dwells in ancient forests. They are legendary guardians. After it awakens, it continues to grow exactly as it did when it was a tree. The ones created from the mightiest trees can reach giant size. They are protectors of the wild. They are a challenge rating 9 in 5th edition. Their abilities, they have false appearance. They look like a tree. And
that's a great ability. You really have to underscore that and give it a rule because it's not obvious.
Yeah, if it doesn't move, you think it's a tree. It's also a siege monster. So it does double damage to objects and structures.
Kaboom, kaboom.
It's got multi-attack. It can attack 2 slams. It can throw a rock. And it can animate other trees. So once a day, it can animate 2 other trees around it and let them become little treants.
Oh, it has little treant babies.
Little treant babies. Saplings.
Aww. That's adorable. No, I do like treants, and my treant fondness was I've only used them in like combat heavy games of D&D once or twice, because it's a super sad thing to put your players up against, right? For a combat encounter, like burn this tree to death. That's not fun, right? Yeah. Occasionally like riddle this tree or solve the tree's riddles or befriend the tree and get directions. That's pretty good, right? Or observe the tree being beautiful in its native habitat and leave it alone unless you guys are going to be jerks. That's usually pretty good. But the reason I brought up treant really is Oakfoot from our Lawful and Orderly game, a character who was invented, I think, in the very first episode of the first season, first or second. I was re-listening to the first recently. I think it was the first, and it just keeps coming back and getting better and weirder. It's a great B story character. So if you can have a friend of a treant, do it. It's fantastic.
Nice. So
where have you used
and if anyone
treant?
Doesn't know, Lawful and Orderly now is its own podcast. You should mention that.
I should. We've been kind of, we produce a lot of audio, and it's not great. We're not amazing at editing as Michael is. So we were polluting up the RPG Academy audio stream. So now we have our own dumping ground for our audio that's less than the Michael standards, but otherwise perfectly listen-toable. If you can't get to YouTube or you're tired of looking at my ugly mug, then give us a listen on iTunes or Stitcher or Podcast Addict or wherever you happen to be. We're even on the Google Play. Oh, that's a place where they keep podcasts.
The Google Play?
The Google.
That's like
music
top shelf
thing.
Or something.
Yes, they wish. And So yeah, give it a listen. It's a fun way to catch up.
And give it a review.
That would be so great because it has 0 of those. The first person to give a review, I will be your friend.
If you don't listen, just rate it 5 stars and then go back and rate it and give an actual review once you've realized that it's worth that.
Yeah. Oh, so never. Thanks. That's real nice.
So you need approximately 5 reviews before it will show any of your reviews.
That's good to know.
Just so you know, in case you and yourself have already written yourself one, which you should absolutely do. It
seems so immoral. I will, though. I'll do it.
Yeah. Everyone you know, grab their phone, go rate yourself 5 stars, move on.
Beef Griller, sorry to distract, had an incredible idea back on the old topic of it reminds me of D&D 3 and 3.5 when templates were all the rage.
You could put something on everything.
Exactly. So a vampire existed as a template, and it probably wouldn't apply to Treant, but you probably could have put another template on first. Well, this is the magical of templates. You could stack them up, right? It's just vampire Treant. Does it suck sap? Like, what is it? Does it have to seduce other trees? It can't pass like flowing water. How does it get around the forest? The drama. Oh, the tension. Does it like protect the other vampire trees? It's so good.
Does it just die when it's daylight?
It's just like
one day.
It's evil, and so it's running like a maple syrup factory because the syrup is what it needs to survive. The party like has absolutely no qualms with associating with this degree of evil.
So it's like a typical, almost like a CSI or even Supernatural. Like, you know, there's like, we need you to come check this out. And there's a tree and it's got like 2 bite marks in the side. It's like, it's been drained of all its sap. It's just like a white tree. It's brittle. What could have done this?
I have a theory. And that theory is that one of these trees has an ability that makes it look like a normal tree when it's standing still, and then it turns into a bat at night. It'll be hiding underneath the other trees because it has a vulnerability to sunlight, even though it needs it for photosynthesis.
It needs to be underneath the canopy. Oh, yeah, no, that's actually, I mean, obviously you could play that for laughs, but there's definitely a way you could probably make that interesting. You know, treants are, you know, generally think of positive, you know, forest protecting spirits, but you know, if you had an evil treant, yeah, that could be interesting.
You know, I honestly, I think that the thing that makes treants evil is the fact that they, you know, they sleep for a long time, right? You have a nap for 45 years and you wake up and stuff's changed, right? So you have a nap for those 45 years and you wake up and you've been built into a house, but it turns out you're now an animated house. Or like windmill, right? You got the propellers. You're just like crushing horses and people. And, I don't know. Be cool.
So Blue Wizard says, Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. So actually, I like that idea of maybe you have this small village or, you know, maybe even like a small town. And in the middle, they have like a little park area. In the middle of the park, there's just one big tree that, you know, it's fenced off and it's great. And it's like everybody loves it. And every night it comes alive and like does something and no one realizes that's what it is. Like it could be killing people. It could just be like moving thing, like tipping carts or tipping cows. But like there's just this tree in the middle of town.
There's a little Timmy O'Toole in the town who's like, I've got a mystery for you adventurers. My you know, something that I keep out somewhere keeps going missing. My jacks or my mommy's pies or something. We got to track down the thief. And they keep finding around the tree. And so they stake out the tree and like the tree knows they're watching because it's the tree, right? It can see them setting up watches. And so it doesn't go out and get it. But it turns out it's the tree. It's the tree.
Beef Griller was saying, you know, Whomping Willow from Harry Potter. But see, that makes me think we need like a Justice League version of the tree. It's like all these different types of trees and they all have different powers. So like like a Weeping Willow would like grab people and just like whip them back and forth. You could have like pine trees shoot needle darts out of its skin.
You have like the token integrated team bonsai tree. Like
it just spouts
you're
wisdom.
The one foreign tree that we kind of all am familiar with. None of this Russian knotted pine shit.
Yeah, that could be fun. Just a different the Justice League treant, which I still think would be better than the Justice League movie. Calling it now, it's going to be terrible. I know
there's a movie coming out.
Yeah, Caleb will love it because Caleb's Caleb, but it will be hot garbage fire.
Yeah, that's yep. I'll agree.
Exploding acorns, like the oak trees could throw exploding acorns. Yeah, I mean,
well, they can also throw rocks.
Oh,
that's an actual list of abilities.
They actually can throw
everyone
rocks.
likes,
or they can throw other trees. It's like a spear.
I mean, it's like dwarf chucking, but cooler. It does seem like the desperate act of someone who's beyond trees. What if a group of treants got tired of being lords of the forest and they decided to create a class system that puts themselves far above the lesser trees? And so they use their animate power to animate trees to do menial chores, and they abuse them like slaves. And then the rest of the trees they treat as spears or like make furniture out of them. And so you go and you find a hollowed out section that's been logged, and there's like big giant furniture made so they can like lord it on their tree thrones or something. Evil treants. I love it.
I like the idea of maybe again, again, I don't want a treant to be something you stab with a stick until it dies. Like that's they're not good for that. They're a story element. Something where like you go to the treant and you have to ask it. It has knowledge because it's been around for millennia. It knows where the so-and-so was buried or the name of the first king. And it wants something that a treant would want. What would that be besides a shrubbery?
Bring me a shrubbery. That's good, PB Dragon. That's a great question. Maybe it needs assistance with something that its morals and scruples don't allow it to do. Like the trees actually do need to be thinned. There's a severe fire risk because it's been putting out the fires for a long time in this forest. It's way overgrown, but it morally cannot. Like it is compelled not to harm trees, and so it needs the player characters to like carefully, selectively log individual like well-chosen trees that have volunteered or something. That could be fun.
Again, this is making it kind of more silly, or it could be played dark, but the treant will turn 2 trees alive, and you have to talk to those trees and then decide which ones should be killed. So like there's like 100 different trees. You have to talk to all of them, get to know them a little bit, and figure out who the weak link is, or
put the trees on trial. If you can animate them, wouldn't you just move them further out of the forest and put them back down, thereby thinning it out?
Yeah.
Like, nope.
You gotta die.
That would be fantastic. But yeah, maybe it's something simple. Maybe the tree just has a gambling addiction.
It's like, bet this on black, and he just hands you like a giant stack of gold.
Yeah,
there you go. Trifecta to win. Maybe that one's just like pure water from like a glacier in the Arctic, or some sort of fertilizer,
or maybe the pure glacier water that's upriver has been dammed and cut off and needs you to go up there. It's a long way for a tree to go.
Yep,
I guess.
Well, they're slow, I think.
Yeah, maybe. You got horses or something.
Yeah. So yeah,
maybe it crosses like the Mournlands. Trees probably have a hard time doing that.
You got to go up and undam the Arctic ice glacier water. I like that. Some sort of fertilizer, like some It
wants you to crap on it. Is that what you're getting at?
You got to go kill a unicorn and like chop it up into a fertilizer. Some magical or special beast that it needs to grow to its next stage or something like that.
That's wow. That's dark. I'm a peaceful tree person. We survive off of fertilizer by glorious fey creatures that have been crushed and ground into the ash below our feet.
I need 7 babies.
Yeah, dark. I liked it. Oh, maybe it turns out that their roots grow especially deep, and in the Underdark they are evil because their roots crush homes and kill people and like steal children and use them as fertilizer. And so the quest is that they're being poisoned at their roots, and so you go down and then you find out the twist on it, right? That they're being poisoned for really good cause, and the roots are actually super evil, right? It's like, on average the tree is neutral. At the top it's good, and the bottom it's real bad, and then you have to go back up and be like, what the shit, Treebeard? Like, why? Treebeard's like, I don't have any sensation. It's like a tail. I don't know what my roots are doing. Like, they're kidnapping children and eating them. Like, I don't know. And then you have to do the moral, like, now do we burn the tree to death?
Yep.
I love all of these. Oh man,
Yeah.
there are going to be so many plots next season come January for Lawful and Orderly about our treant friend in dark, horrible ways.
Wait, the treant has an evil twin with like a Moscow tea, but you think it's your friend, but he's evil and he tricks you.
Moscow tea. I like that.
Yep. In my A New World campaign that I ran, one of the first things we ran for the game, the players were down in an underground complex for a long time, and there were trees that grew from the ceiling. So they had basically were upside down tree forest.
That's cool. Oh man, the uses of spider climb in an environment like that would be really cool. Treants walking along. We had a really gem of a comment by iBlueWizard. Once had players be turned super tiny so they could clear out termites in a very adventure-like combat way within either the treant or some sort of forest. Within the treant, it'd be kind of cool because then you'd find its brain, figure out that if you stab different nerves, it'd walk.
Turn into an automaton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the party that you have that party players that just looking for an excuse to go evil. You give them like a walking robot.
So another idea is, I use in one of the games I run conventions a lot. Ironwood. It's just a tree I made up, but I've actually heard other people have used the same thing. So who knows where I stole it from? So ironwood are basically these trees that are very strong but supple, and they accept magical enchantments very easily. So, they're prized for like ships and wagons because they're lighter than normal but stronger.
Wasn't that a basic building material in 3rd and 3.5 edition?
In Eberron, they call sorewood, which is very similar.
Not Eberron. I thought it was the basic edition. It was like like a basic way that you could get higher level armors made for druids. I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, so maybe that's something where they need the treant to gift them part of the tree it's part of to make a magical weapon. So then it's like an exchange tit for tat type of thing. You have to do a thing for us. And
Ironwood was a spell in 3rd edition.
Or again, maybe you just want to get like an acorn to go plant. Like maybe there's another treant that died and they need to replant a new guardian in a different forest. So yeah, I can think of a few ways that would become an interesting thing. So
I like that. The treant gives you its acorns to plant and spur different magical things, and then it turns out it's just some sort of dirty, like you have to go to HR situation now.
Here is the sprout. You need to pull it. Yes. No harder. No. It's almost there. It's not quite.
Now we're back to the evil roots thing.
Why is there sap all over my hands? And that's where my fingers have been. So we will wrap up cryptozoology.
Oh, wow.
And we'll turn it over as usual. Question and answers. Normally we now ask every guest the same question, but Scott and I have both already answered that question. So we will skip I thought so. The accessory question. Haven't I asked you that? If you were an action figure, what would be your 3 accessories?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I think I was. No, we asked the guest when I was on last time.
I thought we asked you too, though.
Did we? Oh, all right. I'll believe you. I'll take your word for it.
All right. So we'll throw it out to the audience. We got quite a few people, and we've had a pretty active chat, so we love that. If you have any questions for us, it doesn't have to be about role-playing games, but it certainly can be.
PB Dragon suggests a quest for treants are rare, and you find one that wants a mate, but it's socially awkward. You have to do dating for a treant. That's so adorable. They don't get out to other forests much. There's so much tending to do. Oh. It's been 140 years since I last saw a male of my species. If you could, would you please find one?
Nice.
We should run an all treant game.
I'm telling you, I want a Justice League all treant game. So Beef Griller asks, what game or event at a Catacon are you most looking forward to?
I think I am.
Hold on. PB Dragon 83 just won the night. It says you have to create an app for them called Tinder. Oh, you win the internet. Okay. Anyway, so what event are you most looking forward to at a Catacon?
honestly, it's going to be a weird one. I think the event I'm most looking forward to is Caleb delivering some sort of opening remarks like it's the Olympics. That's going to be good.
And now we would like to think.
It's going to be a good time. I really hope he gets teary-eyed and starts listing every single person he wants to thank, like it's an award show. I really want that to happen.
He pulls out a piece of paper. I'd like to thank
the Resistance and Dominion and.
So as for myself, I always enjoy running Scooby-Doo Dread. It's all I've not had a bad game once. I'll probably jinx it right now. But yeah, I really enjoy that game. I'm looking forward to the Redemption in character panel. I think that's going to be a hoot. So they're going to do basically they're going to be in character doing like a Q&A type of a thing. So I think that would be awesome. Again, I'm not really playing in a whole lot of stuff, so I don't have a good one, but I'm sure I'll get into some sort of shenanigans at some point in time. All right. Somebody asked also, Short Manian 444, how many Catacon things are running in the background of your mind right now? All of the things. All the things, all the time. Always and forever. I'm hearing a weird bit of an echo sometimes. Are you? I don't know if that's going to come across on the mics or not. But when I really loud,
I'm not hearing it, but I mean, it's not on my end, so that I hear it. But maybe yours. I don't know. Oh. Testies. Testes. One, two,
chat
three.
Just blew up or something. Something weird.
Oh no.
So Clive jumps in. Hey, managed to squeeze in between kids' bath time. Well, welcome, Clive. Glad you.
Thanks for jumping in. We're always happy to be between some kids in a bath.
Yes, see, now I'm hearing it right now.
Is it the crickets? Stony silence?
I don't know. New York Tater says he can hear you typing.
Yeah, that's a problem. I thought it was a quiet keyboard, but it's on the same plane as the microphone.
And it does come through the audio like it's like.
Yeah, I try to. What I should do is just be that tween who's on my phone the whole time, and I can swipe at everybody on chat. Problem is when I put my phone down and when I put it back up, it doesn't log any chat messages between, which means I miss it. Yeah, but I guess I could watch it and then respond. That's all right. I'll start doing that. No more clicky clacks.
Or if there's a quick way to just mute your microphone while you're typing.
There's a mute button right on the mic. You want to hear what clicking the mute button that's built into the microphone sounds like?
No. Okay, I didn't hear anything.
Really?
Yeah.
It really peaks.
Well, now that you're hitting it really hard, I'm hearing that. But so anyway, great audio. So last call for any questions while we're waiting for that to catch up. I'll ask Scott. Where can people find you on the internet?
Well, they can find the new webpage. We to host a podcast, you have to have a place on the internet for it to live. And so our podcast sleeps at dndsvu.rpg.academy. Because we're awesome. And so that's where you can find like the 2 images we have on there and a couple of posts that say that the podcast's coming soon. But surprise, it's out now. And where you'll find other posts about probably about the podcast. We'll put up little character bios and hopefully fun things like criminal dossier, maybe things. That's the idea. There's a lot of after a year of running 2 hours a show every week, we have an incredible amount of material written up or sort of universe established. We really need to get that down on paper. The other place, the best place to find me on the internet is my girlfriend learned yesterday when I put my phone on mute and she was like, "Did you die?" And I was like, "Did you see how many things I've liked on Twitter in the last 2 hours?" So please go to Twitter. I'm at GOWTF. It's not short for Jeff. People have made that mistake. It's an awkward thing to do. It's GOWTF.
GOWTF. So Short Manian 444 asked if I had any questions for chat. And actually, I do. Thank you for reminding me. I have put together a listener feedback survey. I have shared it with our patrons already. We've gotten quite a few responses, but I'm going to throw it out pretty much right after a Catacon to regular listeners. So it'll be on the website. I'll probably tweet it, put it on the Facebook page. Just very simple. I'm looking for some feedback on the show, trying to get an idea of maybe... are we spending a lot of time on things that aren't worth that time and taking time away from things that we should be doing. So it's very simple. It lists all 7 of our show types. So we got faculty meetings, detention, trials, field trips, show and tells, movie days, and then campaigns. And we just ask you to rate them 1 through 7, which ones you like the best to the ones you like the least. And then there's just a big text box for any comments that you have. So I've done this a couple times on Twitter. It's like very small sample size, but I've got some pretty consistent feedback that people like faculty meetings, people like detention, and people like the trials. Those seem to be the 3 that most people like, or just on average seems to be the ones people like more. I want to see if that plays out, with a larger sample size. And if it is, then maybe we'll cut back on some of the other stuff we're doing. Maybe we don't need to do as many field trips. Maybe we don't need to do as much campaigns. If I know we have people who like them, but if it's a choice between faculty meeting or campaign, a couple of things. So I'm not saying we're going to make any drastic changes, but I just want to get some feedback on what people like the most to the least, and that might help us figure out what we're going to do in 2018. So.
More detention.
Well, detention has become a staple. And I'll be honest, part of it's because it's easy. We know it's every Wednesday. It's 9 o'clock. We don't have to worry about scheduling it. It's not, we're going to do it. Whoever shows up. We can drink. And I don't edit it. I just throw it on the podcast. I just put a little thing that says, hey, audio is going to suck. Deal with it. And so it's super easy.
A lot of fun.
And it's a lot of fun.
We're just hanging out, having a good time. This is basically just what we do while we're not recording. When we're recording the normal podcast, that's all you're seeing. Yeah. It's just with treants. That's pretty cool. Let's make some dirty jokes.
Cut out of all the other episodes is basically what detention
pretty much
is.
Pretty much this. Yeah. It's that's why we put it detention, because it's bad. It's bad. It sounds bad. It sounds naughty. It's not the kind of thing you want to be watching with your children. It's bad. Cool. So everyone's sad that New York Tater's leaving. We'll miss you until next year. Much love. Oh, yes. Danny was so good on detention. Very sad, Beef Griller, that you missed out. It was a good time.
It'll be on YouTube and on the audio only soon. Probably not next week, because that's a Catacon. I'm not really doing anything. It'll be the week after. It is on YouTube, but it's not. I think if you're subscribed, you can see it, but it's not public. I usually make them public the same days I make them live on audio. So Clive was basically asking what happens in detention. So this is our weekly talk show. Basically, we have a kind of a bunch of segments that we go through. What we've been up to. We talk about an old campaign. We talk about a monster. We try to make some weird jokes and do some improv, silly stuff. And a lot of us just interacting with people on chat like you.
Jokes and 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 jokes.
And bits on bits.
Bits on bits. Oh, that's the joke. Oh, son of a.
Yeah.
I ruined it. I belong in detention. I just, bits on bits. Son of.
Nice.
Hey there, kids! I've heard that memes are cool. I don't know how to do that one either.
What are all these GIFs you're talking about?
GIFs. Turns out, I learned new thing. I learned at my new job. The inventor of the graphic integrated format or whatever has pronounces it GIF.
Yeah, he does say it's GIF. But he's not a linguist.
So right.
He is so right.
Oh, I see.
So, okay. Clive, I'm going to ask a quick question. I'm talking to Clive now. Are you watching this on YouTube or perhaps Periscope? Because he's saying that he's not seeing the chat. So the chat is actually through Twitch. So if you're watching us on Twitch, you'll see all the chat.
Or it's on Twitch. It's usually accessible from the right panel, or if you're on the web interface, or if you're on an app interface, there's usually something at the bottom that's like a chat pop up. Yeah. Yep. If you're on Periscope or something else, then we ain't got none chats there. But you're welcome to chat with us. However magically you got that message to Michael.
Yes. Well, I have a consolidated chat, so I get chat from everywhere. I can see all of it, but it seems like most people go to Twitch to watch us. So if you are watching us on YouTube, thank you. but there's just not enough people there to keep up with that conversation. So, or you could always just have Twitch open to type of a thing. So whatever floats your boat. So, all right. So last call for any questions. We'll wait just a couple seconds, and then we'll jump off here. So as for myself, you can find me at the RPG Academy, which is basically anywhere you type in the RPG Academy. If you find anything, it's probably me. And we are now 8 days away from a catacon because the VIP thing is on Thursday. And then hopefully my brain will not be as fried. I hope that you're coming and will come hang out with us and play games. I'll be at the registration desk all the time. If I'm not running, that's where I'll be. You can find me there. Maybe we can play some Hanabi while I'm waiting. And yes, Clive, I am using Restream. We can multi-stream to different places. So far, we're just doing Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope. Eventually, we might go to other places. I just don't know where else we should go. So, all right. PB Dragon 83 says needs to have an adventure dealing with the head of a miners guild. Suggestions. They want beer. So if you can buy them beer or get them a fake ID.
Maybe they're having problem. The younger miners see no reason to join the guild. They're extra guild miners, and so you have to beg, bribe, or cajole them into joining. You have to recruit so many before he'll listen to you. Maybe he only respects people who mine, and the players have to face between 1, several days lost of boring mining, or 2, come up with some materials that it looks like you mined and a story that explains how you got it.
So there could be some like social strata that there's the miners themselves are like on the low tier, but they're trying to use the guild to raise that. So they need like a lot of tithes and dues. So they're trying to do like a drive to get more members, to get more money, but maybe someone's trying to stop them for some reason.
Maybe the mine has been dried out for a long time, but the mine and its production is culturally or socially important to the people in this city. Maybe it's a dwarven surface establishment, and the mine has a lot to do with their religion and their pride and their way of being. And so the head of the Miners Guild has secretly been funneling mined ore from other places down into there to bring out to keep this cultural icon alive. And someone has discovered it. A sweet Timmy O'Toole character who's just so innocent and just wants to share. And the players have this terrible choice, like a Sophie-like choice, until they learn that they can just give the kid candy and it's fine.
So the head of the Miners Guild has bet the farm, so to speak, that there's this vein that person, he or she, is convinced is going to be worth all this time, effort, and money. But they're wrong. It's dried out. It's terrible. It's been a terrible investment, and they're afraid they're going to lose their position as head of the Miners Guild. So they start circulating a rumor that there's monsters. They hire the adventurers to come in, but they are not actually there to defeat the monsters because there are no monsters. They're there to bring in wagon loads of gold to hide in the mines that they will then find, proving that it was a good business opportunity, so they keep their position. Subterfuge.
I like it. Subterranean subterfuge.
Nice.
You can call that episode The Sub.
And we'll leave it at that. So thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight. Scott, thank you for joining me as a faculty member. We always appreciate it.
Michael, thank you for joining me as a host. I always appreciate it.
That's what I do. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you and for everyone else. Clive found Twitch, so congratulations. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Again, there will be no episode next week unless somebody else decides to run it, which is possible.
Thanks for the bits, Clive. You're awesome. 30 bits. Bad.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much.
Good times.
And we'll see you at a catacon, and then we'll see you back here after that. So thank you, everybody. Again, we got to do our awkward wave out until I find the button, which I thought was really funny. I think Danny said that's what she said as I was trying to find the button. Almost there. Oh,
Classy.
almost there. Almost getting close.